let's jump right into this explainer. The natural world is, well, it's pretty chaotic, right? It is literally overflowing with millions of varying life forms. So, to make sense of that sheer volume of life, scientists developed taxonomy. Basically, it's a system of categorization that brings order to all that chaos. Today, we're taking an incredible journey through our own biology, tracing our path from universal cells down to our specific species to see exactly where we fit into the natural world.
Have you ever just stopped and asked yourself, biologically speaking, what exactly are you? I mean, in our modern technology-driven world of smartphones and artificial intelligence, it is remarkably easy to completely forget our fundamental biological nature. If we were to just strip away your name, your job, your personality, what exact physical and cellular traits actually define you in the vast tree of life? It's a fascinating puzzle, and the answer is written right into your physical architecture.
Let's map this whole system out. Think of human taxonomic classification like a massive biological funnel. We're starting way up at the top, encompassing vast amounts of life. And with each of the 8 ranks, the criteria become progressively more exclusive. It's a rigorous system of zooming in, step by step, discarding organisms that just don't share our specific traits until we isolate precisely what makes us, us.
So, zooming out to the widest possible lens, our domain is Eukarya. This is the massive biological umbrella under which we sit, and it represents one of the most profound evolutionary leaps in the history of life on Earth. Long before we had brains or bones, our single-celled ancestors developed an entirely new way of organizing themselves, forever separating us from simpler life forms like bacteria.
Basically, this broad classification tells us our fundamental cellular structure. Belonging to Eukarya means our human cells have a centralized nucleus, serving as a highly secure vault to protect our DNA. Plus, we possess membrane-bound organelles. Think of them like specialized miniature organs performing highly specific tasks within the cell. This complex, organized cellular blueprint was an absolute game-changer because it's the exact biological architecture that makes complex, multicellular life possible in the first place.
But here's the thing. Having those complex, beautifully organized cells isn't nearly enough to define us. We share those traits with a mind-boggling array of creatures. So as we transition from our microscopic cellular architecture to how we interact with the macroscopic world, survival dictates a fundamental question. Within the Eukarya domain, how exactly do we power these cells? How do we get our energy to survive?
The answer to that energy question drops us right down into our kingdom, which is Animalia. Talk about a massive filter. By stepping into the animal kingdom, we are instantly severing ties with billions of other organisms. We are leaving behind the massive, incredibly successful kingdoms of plants and fungi and firmly placing ourselves on a much more active, resource-hungry branch of the evolutionary tree.
We definitely don't have the luxury of just sitting in the sun and making our own food through photosynthesis, right? We're consumers. To be in this kingdom, organisms must be multicellular. We have to actively seek out and consume other organisms for fuel. And crucially, we evolve the anatomical ability to move in order to hunt, forage, and scavenge. You, as a human being, are a highly active biological engine that checks every single one of those boxes.
Now, the animal kingdom is spectacularly diverse. It covers everything from a microscopic tardigrade surviving in moss to a massive blue whale roaming the oceans. It's way too broad to truly tell us who we are. So we have to ask, what specific core physical architecture filters us even further down this evolutionary funnel?
Zooming in on the specific structural blueprint of our physical bodies, we enter the phylum Chordata. Here, we face a major evolutionary fork in the road, and we firmly leave behind all the invertebrates. That means parting ways with insects, worms, spiders, jellyfish, creatures which took an entirely different structural and neurological path than we did.
This specific rank requires some serious biological hardware upgrades. To be a member of the Chordata phylum, you've got to possess both a spinal cord and a backbone. And this isn't just about having good upright posture. It's about possessing an advanced, centralized information highway. It gives us a central nervous system encased in highly protective bone armor, allowing for incredibly rapid communication between the brain and the body.
All right, now we're getting into much more familiar territory. Dropping down into our class, we join a very distinct, fuzzy, and highly adaptable group of animals. We're officially part of the class Mammalia. This group took that baseline architecture, the backbone, and added a series of incredibly successful metabolic and reproductive strategies that let them conquer diverse environments all over the globe.
And these aren't just random quirks, they are highly specialized survival strategies. Having hair provides vital insulation against the elements. Being warm-blooded means we generate our own internal heat. Sure, that's a massive metabolic cost, but it allowed our ancestors to thrive in colder climates and actively hunt at night. And, crucially, females producing milk means mothers carry a constant, reliable food source for vulnerable young, guaranteeing a much higher survival rate.
But even within this exclusive group, there are thousands of mammals roaming the Earth, occupying wildly different ecological niches. So we have to look at what features distance us from a galloping horse or a swimming whale. What specific environmental pressures pushed our ancient ancestors onto a highly specialized, remarkably intelligent branch of the tree of life? To answer that, we have to look at our order. We branch off into the order Primates. Here, we join the ranks of lemurs, monkeys, and apes. This marks a profound shift in how we interact with the world around us, prioritizing sharp senses and physical agility over raw strength or speed. Primates are defined by traits specifically evolved for navigating a complex three-dimensional environment. The trees. Even if we don't live in the forest canopy today, our biology absolutely remembers. Forward-facing eyes give us incredible depth perception to judge distances perfectly. Grasping hands let us manipulate our environment and hold objects. And our relatively large brains, well, they're required to process all this complex sensory input and coordinate those precise physical movements.
Zooming in past the monkeys and the smaller primates, we look at our most direct, immediate relatives on the tree of life. Our family classification is Hominidae. This brings us intimately close to identifying the final, modern human form. We're now looking at creatures that share a vast majority of our DNA and exhibit highly complex social behaviors.
This classification places us securely in the great ape family, alongside chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans. It's an exclusive, highly intelligent club characterized by advanced problem-solving skills. And biologically, you can easily spot a member of Hominidae in the wild by looking for one specific physical trait, the complete and total absence of a tail.
We've finally reached the very bottom of the funnel. After filtering out almost all other life on Earth, leaving behind the bacteria, the plants, the insects, the reptiles, and even the rest of the monkeys, what actually makes us uniquely human? We arrive at the final two classifications that define our specific, remarkable existence today.
This final rapid zoom-in lands us first in the genus Homo. This genus is categorized by a massive shift in behavior, bipedalism, meaning walking fully upright on two legs, and the advanced, deliberate use of tools, which kicked our brain development into absolute overdrive. And finally, that evolutionary chain reaction leads directly to our specific species, Homo sapiens. We are the sole surviving species of our genus on Earth today.
The big takeaway here is that scientific classification isn't just some boring list of Latin names to memorize. It's a grand, sweeping story of exclusion and specification. Every single step we took, from our broad domain down to our exact species, was a deliberate filter. It defined exactly what biological hardware and evolutionary history make up the human body you inhabit right now.
As we wrap up this explainer, just consider this truly fascinating fact. Our modern species name, Homo sapiens, literally translates to wise human. It's a powerful and commanding title that we gave to ourselves. And it leaves us to ask, as we look at our complex actions on this planet today, do we truly live up to our definitive biological title? Thanks for joining me on this explainer to explore the blueprint of us. Keep questioning and keep learning.